So I'm Steve Johnson, I'm from Cardiff and I'm a senior lecturer at the University of South Wales. I went to university at what was then the University of Glamorgan. I went there from 94 to 96 and interestingly for you, I was already working in radio. So I was a mature student and so I was working for a professional radio station at the time called Red Dragon FM, which is now Capital Radio, so it's like the biggest commercial station in Wales, I suppose. So I was doing evening programmes there, looking after kind of unsigned bands and doing all kinds of shows actually. So I was already doing that. So I was working at the professional radio station, much older than all the other students. I had my own house, so in lots of ways it was quite different, you know, to the other students. But because I was working in professional radio, I was thinking, well, yeah, this isn't going to last forever. How right I was, by the way. This isn't going to last forever, and I'd better get myself some qualifications. Red Dragon ended horribly badly. Okay, it ended in a court case, but we'll leave that one for now. Yeah, I won the case, but there we go. So I had been interviewed by a college while I was at Red Dragon, and when I finished my course, I contacted them and said, yeah, we'd love to meet you, and I went straight out of communications degree, kind of media content, straight into teaching at an FE college on a media course, teaching radio. So, you know, it's industry, it's educational, it's all the stuff that you're talking about. For me, was sort of tied together. And again, as a mature student and with my background, I walked, luckily, straight into a job in education. And then how to get back into the industry, you might want to know, I don't know, but a couple of years down the line then I was in a class and I'd seen this sign in a chip shop in Bridgend and one day I'd been down there taking my daughter to the seaside. Radio station launching in Bridgend called Bridge FM, and I think they were looking for an audience but also looking for staff. So one of my students said, oh, did you see that thing about Bridge FM radio station? I said, yeah. She said, well, you know, why don't you go for it? You know, maybe you should be the program controller. I said, well, I haven't really thought about it. I said, well, you know, it's my student now, yeah. I think maybe you should go for it, Steve, you know. So I rang him up and I got became the program controller of Bridge FM, you know. And this is just kind of weird, the way the two things tie together, you know, academia, the real world, university and industry. It also comes together, you know, or it can. As much as you possibly can, if you can connect academia to the real world and as much as you can meet in the middle, you know, if you're not doing that, possibly doing the students a disservice. It's a viable option and it's also a logical option. The correct answer pretty well is always yes. If someone says, do you want to do something? Can you do something? Can you contribute? Can you get involved in something? The correct answer, as much as you possibly can be yes. Of course, the other side of that is you don't want to be taken the mick out of by people using unpaid labour unfairly. But what you do want to do as a student, and as part of my research mantra, really, my ethos for teaching, is this thing called the world outside the window. Because there is a window, it's over there, yeah? That's the world out there. See the world, yeah? So the world's over there. So, you know, students have to integrate, we have to be encouraged and enabled to integrate with the real world. It has to be a progressive funnel to get them from education into the real world. And as much as together, those two things should go together hand in glove. So, yes, you have to eat, you know, and you have to survive. But if you can do stuff that you want to do, which is within you and is creative, and you want to do it, and for me, the big thing I always think is community media. I think community media is the perfect landscape for students coming out of university because it's voluntary, it's participatory, it's community-led, it's charitable, it's non-profit making, it's fighting back against societal pressures. It's great experience, it's fantastic for the community organisations, fantastic for the students, and as you probably noticed, I bang on about it all the time because it's an open door, yeah. And also with students, like for example, I used to run a radio course. So students wanted to do radio, they want to be radio presenters, this, that, and the other. And the likelihood is they probably weren't going to be, most of them. But again, community radio could be the answer there. So they could work, you know, doing whatever they do as a day job to get the money in. And on the weekends, maybe they could do a show for a local community radio station or something like this. Or they could gather content, or they could record interviews. They can create journalism content. They can blog. They can get their name out there. If it's within you, then it needs to come out of you. But if you do that around a job which allows you to do the creative stuff, so be it. But that experience goes on your CV and in the future might just get you the job you want. Within the radio sector, you've got pressures on commercial radio, homogenisation, big organisations buying little organisations, less of a voice for different parts of Wales, new pressures on news, BBC Wales cutting down on its news provision, financial pressures, more and more corporate stuff, less and less stuff that means anything. So that's difficult. There aren't as many paid jobs out there, where community media can help you to get in. So within radio, the pressures are there. And I think that's a general, my general philosophy on it is that capitalism will eventually eat itself. Capitalism will eat everything, avariciously, and it means, therefore, there's less and less things for people to get into. So if you get into one thing, you're kind of in a lot of the others, which in a way is healthy, but you've got to get into that thing to get into the other things. I mean, my dad said, get yourself a steady job. And, when I was like your age or younger, get yourself a steady job, think about your pension,
Yeah.
But Dad, I'm only 17,
Yeah. Yeah.
If your parents did say to you, follow your dreams, good on you, good on your parents, or good on parents who say that. Because my daughter, she's 16, she's in London actually today, she's on a trip to London because she wants to get into drama, and that's her dream. She may never get there, but like I said with the other stuff, it's in her heart, so it needs to come out. So we'll support her every way we can to allow her to take it as far as she can. If she ends up working in Tesco's or whatever, there we go. She's done her bit, we've done ours. So I think parents should support and believe in creativity, because politically, again, I'm talking about kind of capitalism and homogenization and all the rest of it. This beautiful thing called creativity has societal pressures which continue to push down on it, and the idea of kind of STEMs-based education and stuff that matters is quite damaging long term. Going back to capitalism will eat itself, it's going to eat all of us on the way, and it eats communities, and there's this continual battle between society and community and society are dancing around us, but society kind of has a bigger say in what happens to us than community, and that filters all the way down, from Trump and all that gang, all the way down to little communities trying to help each other. But those little communities have to help each other, and the way to do that, again, I would argue, obviously, is through community media, community interaction, collaboration, cooperation, coming together. They have to come together, because that's the only way they can fight back. The university, it's got lovely glass windows and nice white walls, and so is a sanatorium, So what do we do with that? How do we use that resource, the kind of shared knowledge and skill bases of the students, in a way that not only helps them to build for the future, but again helps local organisations and creates that interface between academia and the outside world. If we're not doing that, I don't know why we're here. I don't think of students as kids. They're not the students. But my kids, when they go to university, or if they go to university, I'd want them to be treated the same way I would treat students. Because I want people to care. Otherwise, why are we here? Think of a university. It's 5 modules a term, 30 modules. Do your 30 modules, read a few books, sign a few pieces of paper, and off you go. But that's not enough. I don't think that's enough these days. The more you get on your CV, the more connections and networking you've done, and the more you've maybe got some nice citations back from people, and built your kind of experience, the better person you're going to be when you graduate. So you can't really do too much.
Yeah.
Hi Richie, I like you, Richie. If you want to do the stuff, I think you can. You can generally, if you really want to do the stuff, you can generally find the time to do it. Like I work, I'm in 3 bands now. At my ripe old age, I rehearsed last night, I gigged the night before, I rehearsed the night before that, I'm gigging again tonight. Yeah. Because it's what I love to do. Most of the interesting, fun stuff I do happens outside this building. I try and initiate it for students to share the same kind of ethos, but my good stuff happens outside the building. So, I still find time to do it. I'm not saying anyone can. It is difficult for some people, but the more the merrier, really. And if it's within you, again, just try and find a way of making it happen.